Hi, welcome to Musegyptology. My name is Kate, and on this channel I want to teach you about ancient Egypt and Egyptology and share with you the museums that celebrate it. I've wanted to be an Egyptologist since about the age of 12 or 13, and it's a real passion, a real sudden passion, because before that age I didn't know much at all about ancient Egypt. I'd never studied it in primary school, and really the first times that I was fascinated about ancient Egypt itself was through the character Daniel Jackson on Stargate SG-1 being an Egyptologist, and then also there was an Egyptology sort of gift shop where I lived in my local town centre, and both of those things opened my eyes. The fact that that character in Stargate SG-1 was called an Egyptologist made me realise there was a thing, a job, a career, even a university course out there called Egyptology. And so I decided I wanted to be an Egyptologist. Also, I had grown up watching Indiana Jones, so I imagined that being an Egyptologist was kind of like that, you know, adventures, swashbuckling, that kind of thing. Not that I wanted to, you know, go down scary caves or anything, but it, you know, to me that's kind of potential for that job. Except for the fact that I'd also grown up watching Time Team, so I knew what real archaeology was. And then also I picked up a book about mythology in the library, and that was absolutely fascinating. I can't remember if it had any Egyptian mythology in it, but it sort of just opened up the world of this ancient, maybe kind of a bit unknown period of history to me. And then when I say I didn't really know much about Egypt, to the point where in religious studies class in year 8, I didn't even know how to spell the word Egypt. I thought it had a J in it, there might be an I there somewhere. So it really was like just sort of a ball rolling, it, or a snowball rolling. It just picked up in size and momentum, and just to the point where when I was doing my GCSEs, I just knew that's what I wanted to do. And so I was able to tailor my A-levels to it, apply for university, and start my career studying ancient Egypt. So I went to the University of Liverpool for my BA and my MA. I did a BA in Egyptian archaeology there and an MA in Egyptology. And my specialist subjects for my dissertations while I was there was the first intermediate period, the reunification of Egypt at the end of that period, and then the beginning of the Middle Kingdom. So it was the Pharaoh Mentuhotep II. And then for my master's dissertation, I did his forefathers, the Intefs, and how they slowly took on the attributes of kingship until Mentuhotep effectively took on all of the attributes of kingship. You can call him king at that point. And the fact that he had then been slowly increasing his power base in Egypt to the point where he was able to then defeat all of his enemies and take over the whole country as king pharaoh of reunited Egypt. Then I had a few years off. We, you know, in the Egyptology field need a PhD to be able to get a job in Egyptology, so I had really very little prospect of getting a job in Egyptology itself, although I applied for jobs in museums. And then I decided that I would go to university again to do a master's in museum studies so that I could then work in a museum. So I went to the University of Leicester to do my Masters in Museum Studies, and while I was there I did a dissertation on the sale of an ancient Egyptian statue of Sekemka at Northampton Museum, which was about financially motivated disposal and trust in museums. So that was Egyptian sort of case study, but it was about disposal in museums, museum ethics. And then as soon as I finished my dissertation, then had to go and do a 2-month work placement. And I was lucky enough to be able to do that in the Egypt Centre in Swansea, which is part of the University of Swansea. And I was an education officer on work placement to teach the school holiday workshops with primary school age children, and that was really fascinating. And then after the workshops had finished, then just generally helping out in the museum, helping with the teenage volunteers and that kind of thing. So that was really fantastic. And what that work placement did, especially for me, was reignite my love of sharing ancient Egypt with other people and trying to teach ancient Egypt to people. So when I came back home from that work placement, I decided I wanted to do a podcast in Egyptology, and I wanted to call it Musegyptology, as in museums and Egyptology, Musegyptology. So that was in 2016. Now it's 2026, and in the meantime I have been formulating the plans to be able to get this up and running, but mostly off rather than on. I did do a podcast called Musegyptology, but I'm now reinventing it as this YouTube channel. So it's going to be visual, so I'm able to teach you visually with not just YouTube channel videos, but also reels on Instagram and shorts on YouTube. They will be the same content, and then also carousels on Instagram, which I think is a really great method of sharing information, teaching, and it's all really exciting. I'm so excited to do all of this. For half my life, literally half my life, since the age of 18, I have wanted to teach people about ancient Egypt. So that is what I'm doing with Musegyptology on YouTube and Instagram, and I really hope that you will come along to watch and to learn and to communicate and interact, and I want to build a community. So each week I'm going to publish a video that's a hybrid of a fascinating lesson about ancient Egypt and a study vlog that's a behind the scenes of my work. I'll also talk to you about the books I use and primary sources from ancient Egypt, the highs and lows of doing independent research. And in each video, I'll share with you an actionable tip for well-being and productivity combined, so it can help you be more productive and focused, but with health and well-being at its core. These are tips I use myself, and having been recently diagnosed as an ADHDer, I hope these will help people with ADHD especially. And if we're lucky, we should be joined by one or more of my 2 dogs and 2 cats. So come with me on my journey to deepen my knowledge about ancient Egypt and share it with you. Please subscribe to this channel to get quick access to all of my videos, and follow me on Instagram, where I do reels and carousels with more lessons about ancient Egypt. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. The next video is about the New Kingdom.